Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, this is next-level stuff that will make you question everything you thought you knew. We're talking about ancient wisdom meeting modern science in the most unbelievable way. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In today's video, prepare to uncover some of the most astonishing miracles of the Qur'an. Truths revealed 1400 years ago that science is only now beginning to confirm. I literally spent hundreds of hours with scientists and scholars to verify every single fact you're about to see. This isn't just a theory, this is documented proof. We're going to look at 10 specific examples where the Holy Qur'an described complex scientific phenomena with stunning accuracy, centuries before humanity had the tools to even discover them. Think about that for a second. No telescopes, no microscopes, no submarines, just divine revelation. This is not just a journey into science and religion, it's a powerful reminder of the divine nature of the Holy Qur'an. It's one thing to hear about it, but it's another thing to see the evidence laid out piece by piece. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will be in absolute awe. I want you to keep an open mind and just absorb the sheer impossibility of what we're about to explore. How could a book from the 7th century contain knowledge that scientists in the 21st century are just now proving? We're going to break it down, miracle by miracle, and I can't wait to see your reaction in the comments. Are you ready for this? Because your perception of reality is about to be challenged. Let's begin. Alright, kicking things off with number 1, and it's a big one, embryology. You see, modern science, with its super powerful microscopes and advanced technology, has painstakingly mapped out how a human develops in the womb. But guess what? The Quran described these exact stages over 1400 years ago in Surah Al-Mu'minun. It talks about us starting as a drop, then becoming a clinging clot of blood, then a chewed-up looking lump of flesh, then forming bones and then clothing those bones with flesh. It's an insane level of detail. How could anyone possibly know this back then? They had no way of seeing inside a womb. This is so accurate that one of the world's leading embryologists, Dr. Keith Moore, was absolutely stunned. After reviewing the verses, he famously said, and I quote, "It is impossible for this information to have been known without divine revelation." He literally added this information to his textbook, The Developing Human. Think about that. A top scientist confirming that this knowledge couldn't have come from a human source in the 7th century. We're talking over 1,000 years before the first microscope was even invented. This isn't a coincidence, it's our first unbelievable miracle. Okay, this next one is literally cosmic. In 1929, the legendary astronomer Edwin Hubble looked through his giant telescope and made a groundbreaking discovery: the universe is expanding. All the galaxies are moving away from each other like dots on an inflating balloon. This discovery completely changed modern astronomy and our understanding of the cosmos. It was one of the biggest scientific breakthroughs of the 20th century. Everyone was shocked. But was it really a new discovery? Not for the Quran. 1400 years before Hubble was even born, Surah Ad-Dariyat, chapter 51 verse 47 says, "And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed, we are its expander." Let that sink in. The Arabic word used, musiyun, explicitly means expanding or making wider. How is that possible? How could a book from ancient Arabia describe a fundamental concept of cosmology that our best scientists only confirmed with advanced telescopes in the last 100 years? There was no way for anyone back then to know this. It's a rhetorical question, but seriously, how? This is proof on a universal scale. What do you think of when you see a mountain? A giant pile of rock, right? That's what I thought too. We see this massive thing sticking out of the ground, but that's only half the story. Modern geology has discovered something incredible. Mountains have deep roots that go down into the earth, sometimes even deeper than the mountain is high. These roots act like giant pegs or stakes, stabilizing the Earth's crust and preventing it from shaking violently. They literally hold the tectonic plates in place. It's fundamental to how our planet is stable enough for us to live on it. Now get this. The Quran, in Surah An-Naba, chapter 78 verses 6 and 7 asks, "Have we not made the earth a resting place, and the mountains as pegs?" The Arabic word used for pegs is autad, which means tent pegs, the kind you hammer into the ground to hold a tent firm. This is a perfect, flawless analogy for the geological function of mountains that science only discovered in the last century. How could people living in the desert 1400 years ago have known about plate tectonics and the deep-root structure of mountains? They couldn't have. It's another unbelievable scientific fact written down centuries before its discovery. Miracle number 4, the secret wall inside the ocean. So just imagine this for a second, two seas coming together but somehow they don't mix. Sounds impossible, right? Like it's kind of like oil and water but on a massive oceanic scale. For so many centuries people thought all oceans were just one big connected body of water. But modern oceanography has actually found places, like the Strait of Gibraltar, where the Atlantic and Mediterranean meet, where two bodies of water have different temperatures, salinities, and densities, and get this, between them is an invisible barrier, a zone where they meet but just don't freely mix. It's literally an underwater wall. Now hold on, because this is wild. Surah Ar-Rahman chapter 55 verses 19 to 20 describes this exact phenomenon. It says, "He released the two seas, meeting side by side. Between them is a barrier so neither of them transgresses." I mean, that perfectly describes this scientific reality. The famous oceanographer Jacques Cousteau, after discovering this underwater barrier, was reportedly shocked to learn it was already described in the Qur'an. He just couldn't believe it. How could a 1400-year-old text know about a hidden detail of deep-sea oceanography? It's honestly just beyond human knowledge of that time. Miracle number 5, iron was literally sent down from space. So, let's talk about iron for a moment. It's like everywhere. In our buildings, our cars, and even in our blood. We dig it up from the ground, so naturally you'd think it's from the earth, right? That's what everyone believed for thousands of years. But, yeah, modern science has uncovered a pretty shocking truth. Iron isn't native to our planet. The energy needed to create iron atoms is just immense, way more than what our sun could ever produce. The Earth's core has iron, sure, but the iron in the crust, the stuff we can actually get to, had to come from somewhere else. And that somewhere else was outer space. Iron was forged in the hearts of giant exploding stars, supernovas, and then, billions of years ago, delivered to Earth by meteorites. Now listen to this verse from the Qur'an, from the chapter literally called Iron, Surah Al-Hadid. Verse 25 says, "And we sent down iron, wherein is great military might and benefits for the people." It doesn't say created iron from the earth, it says anzalna, which means sent down. That actually suggests an extraterrestrial origin, a fact science only confirmed in the 20th century. How could the Quran use such a precise term that lines up so perfectly with modern astrophysics? It's honestly just mind-boggling. Miracle number 6. Your fingerprint is your unique password. So, today your fingerprint is basically your ultimate ID. You use it to unlock your phone, get into secure buildings, and, yeah, law enforcement uses it to identify criminals. Why? Because every single person's fingerprint is totally unique. Out of the billions of people who've ever lived, no two are exactly alike. This principle, dactyloscopy, was only scientifically established and put into use in the late 19th century. It's now a cornerstone of modern forensics and personal identity. We just take it for granted today, but it's actually a pretty recent discovery. Or is it? In the Quran, in Surah Al-Qiyamah, there's a passage where disbelievers question resurrection, asking how God could possibly reassemble their bones. The Quran answers with a really stunning detail in verses 3 and 4. Does man think that we will not assemble his bones? Yes. We are able even to proportion his fingertips. Why mention fingertips specifically? Of all the body parts, why focus on the tips of the fingers? Because they contain our unique identity. The verse is saying that recreating our unique fingerprints is a simple matter for the Creator. This subtle yet incredibly profound reference to the uniqueness of fingertips is honestly another miracle, 14 centuries ahead of its time. Let's go back to the beginning of everything. The Big Bang. What was the universe like in its earliest moments? Well, according to modern cosmology, after the initial explosion, the universe was a hot, opaque, gaseous mixture of hydrogen and helium, with other particles. Scientists often describe this primordial state as a cosmic cloud or a gaseous mass. The word smoke is actually a fantastic simple description for a hot, dense, opaque gas containing fine particles, which is exactly what the early universe was. Now prepare for another shocker. Turn to Surah Fussilat in the Quran, chapter 41 verse 11. It describes the creation of the heavens and the earth, saying, "Then he directed himself to the heaven while it was smoke and said to it and to the earth, 'Come into being,' willingly or by compulsion. They said, 'We have come willingly.' The Arabic word used is dukhan, which literally translates to smoke. How could a 7th century text use the perfect word to describe the initial state of the universe, a concept that scientists only formulated with complex physics and telescopic observations in the 20th century? It's beyond incredible. Miracle number 8. Your skin is where you feel pain. Now this might sound pretty obvious to us today, like, when you touch something hot, you feel pain in your skin, right? Well, we know this because modern biology has taught us about pain receptors or nociceptors, which are these special nerve endings found mainly in the skin. When they get triggered by things like heat, pressure, or chemicals, they send signals to the brain, and that's what we experience as pain. But here's something interesting. If you suffer a really bad burn that destroys your skin completely, you might not actually feel pain in that specific spot anymore, because the receptors are gone. This is established medical science. Now let's look at a chilling verse in the Qur'an, Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 56. It says, "Indeed, those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire. Every time their skins are roasted through, we will replace them with other skins, so they may taste the punishment." Why replace the skins? The verse specifically says, so they may taste the punishment. This clearly implies that the sensation of pain, the tasting of the punishment, is tied directly to the skin. Once the skin is destroyed, the feeling is lost, so a new one is needed to continue the sensation. This precise biological understanding of pain reception is honestly pretty astounding for a 1400-year-old text. Miracle number 9. The crushing darkness of the deep ocean. For most of human history, the deep ocean was like a total mystery. What could possibly be thousands of feet below the surface? It wasn't until we invented modern submarines and remote-operated vehicles that we could even explore those depths. And what we found was a world of absolute total darkness. Sunlight only gets through the first few hundred meters of the ocean. Below that, there's this midnight zone, where no light ever reaches. It's a world of crushing pressure, freezing cold, and get this, massive internal waves deep inside the ocean. Waves that move between layers of water with different densities, kind of like waves on the surface, but hidden far below. Now, listen to this incredible description in the Qur'an, Surah An-Nur, chapter 24, verse 40. It describes the state of a disbeliever as being like darknesses within a vast, deep sea which is covered by waves, upon which are waves, over which are clouds, darknesses, one above the other. This description is just so layered and honestly scientifically perfect. It mentions the deep sea, the darkness within it, and then waves, upon which are waves, which is a spot-on description of those internal waves we now know exist below the surface. How could anyone in the 7th century desert possibly have any clue about, let alone accurately describe, the layered darkness and the internal waves of the deep ocean? It's just impossible without divine knowledge. Miracle number 10, the unbeatable challenge. So for our final miracle, we're looking at a challenge that's still open even today. Throughout the Quran, there's this recurring challenge to anyone who doubts its divine origin. It doesn't just ask for belief, it actually asks for proof of its falsehood. In Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verses 23 and 24, the challenge is crystal clear. And if you are in doubt about what we have sent down upon our servant, Muhammad, then produce a surah the like thereof and call upon your witnesses other than Allah if you should be truthful. But if you do not, and you will never be able to, then fear the fire. This is the ultimate challenge. It's not about replicating the scientific miracles we've just talked about. It's about producing just one chapter with the same literary perfection, eloquence, guidance, and timeless relevance. For 1400 years, countless scholars, poets, and critics have tried. Back then, Arabic poetry was at its absolute peak, yet even the most skilled poets were left speechless. To this day, no one has ever succeeded. And this isn't just a claim, it's a historical fact. The inability of all of humanity to meet this challenge is, honestly, perhaps the greatest miracle of all. So, what do we make of all this? Embryology, an expanding universe, mountains as pegs, iron from space, unique fingerprints, and the darkness of the deep sea. Wow, we've just gone through 10 undeniable facts, and, honestly, we've only scratched the surface. These are not just ancient verses, they're timeless truths. The Quran doesn't oppose science, it actually precedes it. It guides us spiritually, morally, and even scientifically. Unbelievable, but absolutely true. The sheer amount of this information revealed at a time of scientific ignorance really points to only one possible source, a divine one. And look, this isn't about forcing a belief on anyone. It's about presenting evidence that's so powerful, so compelling, that it deserves to be seen and considered by everyone, no matter their background. The consistency and accuracy are just staggering. I went into this research with an open mind, and honestly, I've come out of it completely blown away. I really hope this journey was as eye-opening for you as it was for me. Thank you so much for watching. If this amazed you and you think this knowledge needs to be shared, then do me a huge favor and destroy that like button, share this video with your friends and family, and of course subscribe to Mr. Unbelievable so you don't miss our next incredible investigation. Let me know in the comments which miracle shocked you the most. Stay curious, stay inspired, and remember, the truth was always there. We just needed to open our eyes.